Hello, my dear. Join us and stay tuned for more astonishing tales each day. Welcome to Secrets and Lies, where every twist and turn reveals a new narrative waiting to unfold. The sun dipped low onto the horizon, casting a warm glow of pink and orange across the sky. I stood in the heart of our serene garden, surrounded by the fragrance of blooming flowers and the refreshing evening breeze lost in my thoughts. The echoes of laughter from neighbors danced through the air, mingling with the gentle buzz of life in our quaint suburb, yet within me a tempest was stirring a sense of unease that even the most picturesque surroundings could not soothe. My hands, marked by the vibrant hues of my latest creation, quivered ever so slightly as I came to terms with the weight of my dissatisfaction. Once upon a time, I found myself surrounded by all that one could dream of: a devoted partner, a warm and inviting sanctuary, and a life filled with vibrant shades of joy. Yet there lingered a profound emptiness, a subtle ache that spoke of dreams, unrealized, of a journey not entirely embraced. As I lingered in that moment with the shadows stretching out before me, a question danced in my mind. What was absent from this scene? What could ever disturb this perfect existence? In the vibrant tapestry of the 1970s, where the fragrance of wildflowers mingled with the electrifying rhythms of rock and roll, Lily, discovered myself entangled in a life that was as enchanting as it was stifling. In the serene suburb of Maple Grove, our home stood as a backdrop to the joyful symphony of neighbors' laughter and the soft rhythm of Rob's paws dancing across the hardwood floors. Each morning I would rise to the gentle light of the sun seeping through the curtains, wrapping our humble living room in a cozy warmth. Tyler, my husband, would be in the garage, immersed in the intricate workings of an engine, his brow knitted in deep focus. The sound of tools clinking filled the air, accompanied by the occasional expletive when things went awry, and then there was Rob's enthusiastic bark, always ready to join in on the excitement. My studio, a transformed spare room, was my haven. In this space, surrounded by vibrant colors and tools of creation, I find a sanctuary for my imagination. The walls were alive with my creations, landscapes that murmured tales of far-off lands and abstracts that resonated with unvoiced feelings. Every stroke was a narrative unfolding with my soul, a tale that was growing ever more lopsided. The days unfolded in a familiar pattern, each one holding a certain cadence that I had once cherished. Tyler would stroll in for lunch, his hands marked with grease, a grin on his face that conveyed 1,000 unspoken tales. We'd gather around our little kitchen table, the one with the wobbly leg that Tyler swore he would fix but never got around to, and recount the events of our morning. Yet as the days passed, this pattern started to resemble a prison. My paintings, once filled with vivid tales, now appeared to reflect the chaos within me. The hues intensified. The movements became more forceful, as if every stroke sought to capture a fragment of my unease. One afternoon, as I stood before a canvas, the brush in my hand trembling, I felt a void that needed to be filled. It was more than simply lacking a specific hue or method. There was an emptiness inside, a deep desire for something beyond the ordinary. The suburb buzzed with vibrant sounds, yet I felt like an isolated tree amidst a lively forest, observing the world around me from a distance. The sounds from next door, the laughter of children, the steady hum of lawnmowers created a vivid backdrop that highlighted my solitude. From my window, I observed the world outside, alive and carefree, completely unaware of the turmoil brewing within me. Tyler, always the one to seek solutions, would attempt to repair what was visible to him. He'd observe the tightness in my shoulders, the way my gaze would wander into the horizon, and he'd present his ideas for resolution. Perhaps we ought to escape for a while. Lily, he would propose, his tone filled with optimism, attempting to close the distance he felt but couldn't quite grasp. Yet it was more than merely breaking free from the mundane. It was a journey of uncovering what had slipped away or maybe was never really discovered at all. My paintings, once a source of happiness, now seemed to bind me. Every creation echoed my journey, a quiet cry for something greater than the surface. As the sun dipped below the horizon, stretching shadows across our abode, I frequently found solace in the garden, my sanctuary, where I could truly exhale. As I touched the earth, a bond formed, a soft murmur of the truths I sought began to unfold. Yet this comfort was short-lived as darkness would slowly descend, ushering in familiar doubts and an unshakable unease. And thus I began to create my masterpiece. I painted until my fingers were stiff, until the colors blurred, until the canvas transformed into a mirror reflecting my inner chaos. Every creation echoed a longing for transformation, a heartfelt request for something to shake up the seemingly flawless existence that appeared so serene. What could ever shatter this perfect existence? The inquiry hung in the atmosphere, as tangible as the aroma of oil paint and turpentine. It was a question poised on the brink of revelation destined to unfold, not in the serene streets of Maple Grove, but within the very core of my being, where the whispers of transformation were beginning to blossom. On a bright and cheerful afternoon, Tyler unexpectedly had to depart for a business trip, leaving me to share the day with Rob. The house was steeped in an unusual stillness in Tyler's absence, where the ticking of the clock, the gentle hum of the refrigerator, and the soft rhythmic breaths of our dog seemed to weave a tapestry of solitude. I chose to take Rob for a stroll in the nearby woods seeking clarity. I hoped the fresh air and the rustling leaves would share some insights into the questions that had been weighing on my mind. As we meandered, the ground beneath us was cushioned with a blanket of fallen pine needles, while the sunlight filtered through the branches above, creating a beautiful interplay of light and shadow. Rob bounded forward, his nose eagerly, sniffing the earth tail dancing with the thrill of discovery. I weave my thoughts to him, my voice a gentle whisper amidst the expansive embrace of the woods. What am I overlooking, Rob? What is this emptiness that lingers within me? He glanced over at me, his head slightly cocked, eyes brimming with empathy, as if he could feel the storm brewing beneath my composed facade. It was then that I came across an ancient hidden cabin, its windows sealed tight, yet an enchanting mystery surrounded it. The wood bore the marks of time, its paint flaking away. Yet it remained a steadfast presence in the clearing, as if anticipating the arrival of a curious soul. With a spark of curiosity, I ventured forth, and Rob, filled with enthusiasm, trailed closely behind his tail, wagging in a whirlwind of joy. The door groaned as it opened, a sound that hinted at the long silence it had endured. Within the space, the atmosphere was heavy with dust, every speck swirling gracefully in the beams of light that filtered through the cracks in the wooden planks. The cabin exuded an air of nostalgia, with old photographs hanging askew on the walls, a fireplace that held the remnants of warmth long past, and furniture cloaked in sheets that seemed to murmur tales of yesteryears, hidden beneath their fabric. There was an inexplicable bond I felt with the location, as if it whispered untold tales that might reveal my own hidden truths. On a dusty table lay an old leather-bound journal, its pages whispering tales of a time long past yellowed with age. I opened it, revealing elegant handwriting. The ink had faded over time, yet it remained legible. It was once in the hands of a woman named Evelyn, who poured her heart into the pages, sharing her experiences, aspirations, and her quest for something beyond the ordinary. Her words echoed within me, each entry reflecting my own sense of restriction and longing. Dear Diary. One entry began, I find myself in a stunning enclosure, filled with every luxury imaginable, yet deep within my spirit longs for the mysteries beyond, for the wild and the unrestrained. My heart raced as though Evelyn had transcended the ages to whisper her secrets straight to my soul. As I delved deeper, I uncovered her escapades, her clandestine encounters with a man who was not her spouse, the excitement of the illicit and the remorse that ensued. Her life unfolded like a captivating narrative filled with fervor and hidden truths, standing in sharp relief to my own. In her words, I discovered a kindred spirit, a soul who resonated with the unvoiced yearning for transformation. Rob, noticing my wandering thoughts, settled down by my feet, resting his head on his paws, gazing at me with those knowing eyes. I delved deeper into the pages, uncovering the layers of Evelyn's existence, her challenges and her ultimate breakthrough from the boundaries of her seemingly perfect life. The cabin, resonating with whispers of a past existence, seemed to transport one to another time. In this place, surrounded by the remnants of Evelyn's history, I sensed the very structure of my own existence start to change. The mysteries of this place extended beyond her. They intertwined with my own journey, revealing what I might transform into if I had the courage to venture beyond the boundaries of my present reality. As the afternoon light began to fade, stretching shadows across the cabin, I set the journal aside, my imagination swirling with endless possibilities. What mysteries lay within this cabin, and how might they transform my existence? The question lingered as tangible as the dust particles swirling in the dimming glow. I realized at that moment that this cabin, filled with its quiet narratives, was more than just a sanctuary. It was a spark for change. In this secluded nook of the forest, I discovered the bravery to carve out my own journey, to delve into the essence of my longings, and maybe, just maybe, uncover what had eluded me for so long. As I sat there, the journal resting in my lap, the gravity of Evelyn's words enveloped me, igniting a swirl of feelings I struggled to identify. The sun had dipped lower, casting a warm glow of gold and amber throughout the room, stirring within me a desire to explore the life of this woman who resonated with my own unspoken longing for something greater. As I flipped through the pages, I uncovered the layers of Evelyn's existence. Her challenges and the unique bond she shared with her dog, whom she affectionately called Shadow. Her narratives were rich and evocative, brimming with a genuine sincerity that made me feel a rush of warmth and embarrassment. Yet I couldn't help but be pulled back in by intrigue. She crafted narratives of instances where the lines of love softened, where the bond with her dog elevated the everyday into a realm of profound connection, leaving me utterly astonished. One particular entry captivated me, where Evelyn painted a picture of a night beneath the stars, the fire softly crackling, and how she surrendered to a moment filled with loneliness and longing. She recounted a moment of solitude with her dog, reflecting on her deep emotional need for companionship, and how those quiet nights under the stars brought comfort. Her words wove a tapestry of nuance, skillfully tracing the contours of her emotions and decisions, allowing just enough space for the mind to grasp the weight of her actions. The wine bottle on the table, now half empty, whispered tales of warmth and laughter, inviting me to partake in its lingering essence. With Tyler away, the emptiness of the house wrapped around me like a heavy blanket. And in a fleeting moment of wild impulse, I filled my glass once more. The drink enveloped me in warmth, easing the constraints that held me back. Rob, picking up on my feelings, moved nearer, his gaze gentle and brimming with faith. I recalled Evelyn's words, her vivid portrayals of intimacy, of yearning for something transcending the mundane. With a blend of wonder and a longing for connection, I found myself reaching out to Rob, my fingers gliding over the gentle fur of his back. What began as a quiet evening of reflection evolved into a personal reckoning, revealing the emotional void I had long tried to ignore. In a swirl of wine and yearning, the distinction between human love and the bond with animals faded into a captivating blend. What began as a soft caress evolved into an unexpected journey, one I never saw coming. My heart pounded and my breath hitched as I grasped the significance of my actions. In that instant, a whirlwind of emotions swirled within me. Loneliness and regret intertwined as I faced the difficult truth about my own emotional disconnection. The following morning, the sun blazed fiercely, relentless in its brightness, pouring through the windows and illuminating the truth of what had occurred. As I opened my eyes, a throbbing ache pulsed through my head, the echoes of last night's indulgence lingering like a ghost, accompanied by a deep well of remorse. Rob rested at the foot of the bed, his tail gently tapping against the floor, oblivious to the storm brewing inside me. Every glance at him reminded me of the shame I carried and the emotional distance I had created. What had I created? The cabin, once a realm of mystery and refuge, now seemed to stand as a silent observer of my transgressions. I hurriedly put on my clothes, each movement precise and driven by an urgent desire to break free, not only from the confines of the cabin, but also from the burden of my choices. Upon returning home, the stillness enveloped me like a heavy blanket. With each passing moment, the weight of my remorse grew heavier, resonating in the silence. I immersed myself in cleaning and painting, seeking refuge from the relentless thoughts that gnawed at my mind. Yet each brushstroke on the canvas now resonated like a whispered secret, every hue echoing the memories of the night prior. When Tyler returned, his presence was explosive, yet it deepened the weight of my guilt. Every time I tried to look at him, a wave of guilt washed over me, as if my very essence was turning against him. Not in a physical sense, but deep within my spirit, I prepared dinner. We engaged in conversation, shared laughter, yet beneath the surface, I was a tempest of feelings, grappling with my actions and the transformation they brought upon me. As time passed, the weeks unfolded, and the event at the cabin lingered like a quiet ghost between us. I attempted to hide it, to cover it with the everyday rhythm of our existence, yet it remained a haunting presence in my mind. There I was steering clear of Rob, caught in a whirlwind of emotions that clashed with the haunting recollection of that fateful evening. One evening, as we sat in the garden, the stars beginning to twinkle above, Tyler sensed the space that had grown between us. "Lily, there's something about you that's changed since my return. Is all well with you?" His voice carried a softness filled with care. As I gazed at him, the man who held my heart, the weight of reality, lingered just beneath the surface, ready to spill forth. But how could I share that with him? How might I convey the unfathomable? Instead, I offered a smile, one that seemed to mask the truth, and said, "I'm just tired, that's all," but the reality was, I was beyond exhausted. I found myself wrestling with the aftermath of my choices, coming to terms with the fact that in my quest for something greater than my own creation, I had trapped myself in a space of my own design. The cabin, Evelyn's journal, and that night with Rob had unlocked a chapter I wasn't certain I could shut, or if I even desired to. The path of self-exploration had veered into unexpected territory, compelling me to confront not only the outside world, but also the inner landscape where the distinctions between right and wrong, between human and animal, had become indistinct in ways I was still striving to comprehend. The morning light crept in, slicing through the curtains with a sharpness that echoed the relentless throb in my head. As the morning light crept in, I found myself burdened by a weighty heart, thoughts swirling in a tempest of remorse and uncertainty. I turned my eyes away from Rob, a swirl of embarrassment and an odd bond tugging at my heart. As the evening approached, I found myself caught in a whirlwind of emotions, grappling with the choice of revealing my secrets or hiding them away in the shadows of my mind. As I went about tidying the house, each sweep of the broom felt like an attempt to wipe away the shadows of my poor choices. Yet with every surface I polished, the weight of my remorse seemed to linger, echoing in the quiet spaces around me. Every speck of dust I brushed aside seemed to whisper secrets, and each item I arranged stood as a quiet request for redemption. The house, once a refuge, now seemed to bear silent testimony to my missteps. When Tyler returned, his presence was explosive, yet it deepened the weight of my guilt. Every time I tried to look at him, a wave of guilt washed over me, as if my very essence was turning against him. Not in a physical sense, but deep within my spirit. I prepared dinner, we engaged in conversation, shared laughter, yet beneath the surface I was a tempest of feelings, grappling with my actions and the transformation they brought upon me. As we gathered around the table, the familiar rhythm of our meal seemed to mask something deeper beneath the surface. Tyler observed my withdrawn nature, believing it stemmed from the solitude brought on by his absence. "Lily, you've been rather silent today. Is everything all right?" His voice carried a softness filled with care. As I gazed at him, the man who held my heart, the weight of reality lingered on my lips, begging to be spoken. But how could I share that with him? How might I share the unshareable? Instead, I offered a smile, one that seemed to mask the truth, and said, "I'm just tired, that's all." But the reality was, I was beyond exhausted. I found myself wrestling with the aftermath of my choices, coming to terms with the fact that in my quest for something greater than my own creation, I had trapped myself in a space of my own design. In the cabin, Evelyn's journal awaits that night. With Rob had unlocked a passage I wasn't certain I could shut, or if I truly desired to. As time flowed on, the weeks slipped by, and the event at the cabin lingered like an unspoken shadow between us. I attempted to hide it, to cover it with the facade of our everyday existence, yet it remained a haunting presence in my mind. There I was, steering clear of Rob, caught in a whirlwind of feelings that clashed with the haunting recollection of that fateful evening. One evening, as we sat in the garden, the stars beginning to twinkle above, Tyler sensed my detachment once more. Lily, there's something about you that's changed since my return. Are there tales you're holding back from me? His voice had taken on a gentler tone, exploring the depths. The heaviness of my hidden truth loomed over me, an invisible weight that I could not shake off. I felt the weight of my thoughts pressing down, yearning to be shared. Yet the right words eluded me. Instead, I took his hand, giving it a gentle squeeze. I've been reflecting deeply, Tyler, on existence, on our connection, on my desires. He gazed into my eyes, seeking the hidden truths within. You're aware that I'm here to listen, to whatever you want to share, aren't you? We've consistently shared our truths with one another. His words echoed the essence of our bond, leaving a profound impact. I nodded, a wave of emotion swelling within me as tears threatened to spill from my eyes. I understand, Tyler. I require a moment to navigate through my reflections. He nodded, sensing the chaos brewing inside me, yet unable to grasp its full depth. Feel free to take as long as you wish, Lily. Whenever you're prepared, I'm right here. That night, with Tyler peacefully slumbering beside me, I found myself wide awake, gazing at the ceiling. The cabin, Evelyn's journey, and my own choices unfolded in my thoughts like a vivid narrative. It was as if I was navigating two distinct realms, one bathed in brightness alongside Tyler, and the other cloaked in darkness where my hidden yearnings led me to unexpected destinations. The following morning, I made the choice to head back to the cabin, this time by myself. I found myself drawn to the very spot that marked a pivotal moment in my journey. The stroll through the woods had transformed, shifting from a quest for understanding to a journey of confronting the outcomes of my choices. The cabin remained unchanged, holding its mysteries close in a quiet embrace. I entered the room, watching the dust motes swirl in the beams of light, and took a seat at the table where I had immersed myself in Evelyn's journal. I revisited it, hoping to find comfort or maybe a hint within her words. At times, a passage revealed, the heart yearns for what the mind struggles to grasp. We pursued whispers of the past, yearning for the illumination they might reveal. Her words exploded like a bomb, igniting a deep sense of guilt within me. I shut the journal with a sense of finality. I have come to a conclusion. This secret will not take over my life. I would seek a way to harmonize my choices with my affection for Tyler, to discover a journey that embraced honesty and loyalty. As I stepped away from the cabin, a sense of determination began to take shape within me. I would share with Tyler not the details of that evening, but the emotions swirling within me, the uncertainty I felt, and my yearning for something deeper in our journey together. Perhaps we could discover that deeper connection together in a manner that respects the boundaries that ought to remain intact. Once I returned home, I steeled myself for the upcoming dialogue. It wasn't merely a matter of admitting a fault. It was about sharing our hopes and dreams for what lay ahead, exploring together what we truly desired and required. As I sat in anticipation of Tyler's return, I lost myself in the strokes of my brush. Not with the harsh lines of uncertainty, but with hues of optimism and rebirth. Every brushstroke unfolds a journey toward understanding, toward restoration, and toward a fresh beginning in our shared narrative. The sun dipped below the horizon, stretching shadows throughout the room, and when Tyler stepped through the door, I felt the moment had arrived. It's time to connect the dots, to share what has been left unsaid, and to discover a path to progress. United as darkness enveloped the world outside, the burden of my hidden truth pressed heavily upon my heart. I knew I had to address it before it consumed everything we had built together. As Tyler stepped inside, our gazes locked, and I felt the weight of the moment. This was it, Tyler. There's something important we need to discuss. I spoke, my voice quivering under the burden of the truth I was about to share. He gazed at me, worry carving lines into his expression. What troubles you, Lily? I inhaled deeply, the words weighing heavily in my throat. I have a tale to share with you, a tale of events that unfolded in your absence. His expression transformed, first revealing a sense of confusion, followed by a growing concern. Can you share what took place? I guided him to the couch, where we settled in the space between us, Looming like an abyss in the heart of the woods, I stumbled upon a quaint cabin, its presence whispering tales of solitude and adventure. I started, my voice soft and low. Within its pages lay a journal crafted by a woman named Evelyn. Her words resonated deeply within me, Tyler. They resonated with my own sense of confinement, a deep desire for something beyond the ordinary. Tyler absorbed the words, his expression a blend of bewilderment and pain. Lily, how is this relevant to our journey? I took a deep breath, the truth fighting to escape my lips. In that moment, solitude enveloped me, and a profound sense of isolation washed over my being. In a haze of too much drink, I found myself in a moment of solitude, and in that fleeting instant, I made a choice that haunts me now, his gaze locked onto mine as if he were unraveling the narrative I was weaving. What adventures did you embark on, Lily? My eyes avoided his as if drawn away by an unseen force. I ventured into uncharted territory with Rob. In that fleeting instant, emotions tangled and feelings found themselves in the wrong place. The dawn broke, illuminating the path I had traveled, revealing just how far I had ventured. The stillness that ensued was overwhelming. Tyler's face was a canvas of turmoil, painted with disbelief, anger, and deep-seated pain. Are you with Rob? His voice trembled, the sense of betrayal unmistakable. As I nodded, tears cascaded down my cheeks. I truly apologize, Tyler. I've been holding on to this burden, this weight of remorse. I found it challenging to share with you, to convey something that feels just out of reach for me to grasp fully. He rose to his feet, moving restlessly around the room, his fingers tangled in his hair. I seek clarity, Lily. What were you thinking? What led you to make this choice for us? I extended my hand, yet he pulled away. There I was, adrift, Tyler. It was as if the weight of our existence was closing in on me, trapping me in the monotony of everyday life. Evelyn's journal revealed a journey I believed I was meant to undertake, yet I ventured too deep. My mind was clouded. He halted his restless movements, turning away from me. And what about our tale? Our tale. What lies ahead for us? What implications does this hold for us? I stood there, my heart racing with anticipation. My heart belongs to you, Tyler, above all else. I want you to grasp that my quest was for something external. Yet I realize now it resided within us. From the very beginning, I wish to explore that further alongside you. Not beyond the bounds of our union. He turned his eyes glistening with unspoken emotions. I require some distance, Lily. I must ponder this for a while. Concerning all matters, he snatched his jacket and stepped out the door, crashing shut, plunging me into the resonant stillness of our abode. The night unfolded, every moment lingering like a tale waiting to be told. As I lingered in solitude, my mind wandered, burdened by the gravity of what I had just revealed. Would Tyler come back, or had my revelation broken our bond irreparably? The question lingered in my mind as I sat in silence, the house growing colder and more desolate in his absence. It was clear to me that he required some distance, yet the ambiguity gnawed at my insides. I roamed through our space, caressing the objects that brought back memories of him, of our shared moments, the tools resting in the garage, the unsteady kitchen table, the artwork adorning the walls. Every piece held a narrative of our shared journey, a journey I had jeopardized through my choices. As darkness enveloped the world, so too did my determination grow stronger. I would stand by allowing him the space to reflect and come to his own conclusions. Yet I understood that transformation was essential to uncover the void within me, within our bond, while respecting boundaries that should remain intact. As dawn approached, I found myself in the garden where the first light of day painted long shadows across the lawn, whispering tales of the night that had just passed. The cool earth beneath my fingers brought back memories of a time when it spoke of bonds and unity. Once upon a time, there was a gentle murmur of hope, a flicker of opportunity to reconstruct and unearth anew. Uncertainty loomed over me like a shadow, yet I felt a stirring within, a determination to stand firm against whatever the future held. Prepared to embark on a journey to reclaim our union, our affection, and the life we have woven together. The cabin Evelyn's journal and that night with Rob had unlocked a chapter, yet now I needed to turn the page to discover a path to healing to progress, whether alongside someone or on my own. The morning light pierced through the darkness, revealing truths that had long been hidden. I would linger in anticipation, nurturing dreams, and readying myself to create a fresh masterpiece, one where the hues of our affection could radiate more vividly than ever before. As the days stretched into weeks, Tyler remained absent, leaving a lingering silence in his wake. In the stillness of our home, the clock's ticking echoed like a haunting melody, each sound a poignant reminder of the emptiness his absence created. As I spent time in my studio, I noticed how the world outside faded away, leaving only the gentle whispers of my brush gliding across the canvas and the soft rhythmic sighs of Rob resting by my side. My paintings had embraced a deeper, more contemplative essence. The vivid hues I had once embraced now felt overwhelming, clashing with the chaos that stirred inside me. Instead, I embraced subtle hues blending shades of gray and blue, reflecting the tempest of feelings that swirled within. Every creation echoed my remorse, my yearning, and the void that Tyler's absence had carved within me. Rob, picking up on the shift within me, remained by my side. His presence was a quiet comfort, his eyes ever observant, grasping emotions in a manner that only a devoted companion could. He stood by a silent presence, ready to lend his strength, without a hint of judgment or inquiry. As twilight settled in, painting the sky with hues of orange and purple, the door to my studio slowly swung open, the sound of its creaking echoing in the stillness. My heart raced, and I turned, anticipating the familiar face of a neighbor or a friend. But there stood Tyler. He appeared transformed, aged in a way with deeper creases of concern marking his features. Yet, there was a gentle warmth in his gaze, a whisper of the man I had come to cherish. "Lily," he murmured, his voice rough as though he had been silent for weeks during his absence. "Tyler," I murmured, my voice quivering with a blend of anticipation and trepidation. We lingered in that moment, the space separating us stretching endlessly. Then he moved closer, bridging the distance, and we settled onto the worn couch that had witnessed so many moments of our journey together. "I've been to therapy," he began, his eyes downcast, seeking to comprehend, to find forgiveness, not only for you, but for myself as well. "For failing to recognize how adrift you truly were." I nodded, emotions swelling within me. "I truly apologize, Tyler." In a moment of confusion, I found myself wandering off the path leading to a regrettable choice. He raised his gaze, locking eyes with me. "I've been reflecting on our journey, Lily, considering our desires and the steps we need to take to progress together." The atmosphere was heavy with memories, intertwining with dreams yet to unfold. "What is it that you seek, Tyler?" I inquired, my voice scarcely rising above a murmur. "I want us to try again," he said, his hand reaching out hesitantly, brushing against mine, but in a different way now. "We must embrace honesty, engage in open dialogue, and discover the pieces we've been longing for side by side rather than in solitude." A wave of relief washed over me, intertwined with a deep sense of duty. I desired that as well. I've been painting, exploring my inner world, but I realize now that it's not solely about my journey, it's a tale of us. He held my hand softly as if sharing a secret only we could understand. "We will embark on this journey to therapy side by side. We'll share our thoughts, delve into our emotions, explore our relationship, and envision our future together." The dialogue unfolded effortlessly, reminiscent of a stream that had finally been released from its constraints. We shared our anxieties, our aspirations, and the little moments that had started to wear away at our bond. Tyler opened up about his struggles, revealing the deep-seated fear that he wasn't sufficient, a feeling that pushed him to immerse himself in his work, seeking refuge in the realm of engines and tools. And I admitted, was in search of something beyond our canvas, not understanding that the true beauty lay right here in the flaws of our life together. As we conversed, the evening grew darker, and the stars started to shimmer in the sky. It was as if a fresh chapter had opened an opportunity to weave the past into a richer tapestry of affection and insight. Embracing the lessons learned along the way, Tyler stayed the night. And for the first time in weeks, I drifted into slumber wrapped in a soothing calm, his presence beside me a cherished solace I had longed for. The following morning, as the soft light danced through the curtains, I stirred to discover him gazing at me, a gentle, optimistic smile gracing his lips. "We'll find a way, Lily," he declared, his voice steady and filled with determination. "Our paths will intertwine once more, united in our journey." I nodded, sensing the depth of our mutual promise. Indeed, united as one. The days that came after were filled with challenges. Therapy sessions unfolded like a narrative, revealing the deep-seated wounds we had both attempted to overlook. Yet through every meeting and each sincere dialogue, we started to piece things back together. I captured more of the hope I felt as the colors gradually returned to my palette, leaving behind the shadows of my inner turmoil. Tyler, too, discovered comfort in his work, yet he now carved out moments for us, for our garden, for strolls in the woods where we had once stumbled upon that old cabin. It was during one of these walks that we encountered it once more, the spot where my life had shifted so dramatically. As we approached the cabin, Tyler grasped my hand tightly. "This place, it was a spark, wasn't it?" I nodded, the recollections rushing in. It revealed the gaps in my understanding as well as the missteps I had taken along the way. He proposed, gently suggesting that they create new memories in this place, not to forget the past, but to create something new from it. And thus our journey unfolded. We transformed the cabin together, crafting it into a sanctuary of contemplation instead of sorrow. We placed Evelyn's journal back in its spot, a quiet reminder of a life lived and tales untold. But we infused it with our unique elements, weaving our narratives into the fabric of the space, crafting a place where we could gather to reflect, converse, and reconnect. With each passing season, our transformations unfolded. Our love forged in the flames came out stronger, more unyielding. We discovered that the flaws of life can be woven into a richer tapestry, not eliminated but embraced as part of a deeper narrative of love and understanding. Will Lily and Tyler's love endure this challenge, or is this the final chapter of their tale? The truth was woven into the fabric of our shared experiences, where each moment, each emotion painted a vivid picture of our dedication to one another. We had confronted the darkness, and now we were crafting our journey back into the brightness. If you found the tale captivating, be sure to subscribe, like, and share your thoughts. This will help us craft more captivating narratives for you.